What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Ravens Rundown. I am your host, Joey Peterson, and we got some major draft news to talk about on today's show because the Baltimore Ravens have scheduled 2 more top 30 visits. Now, if you're watching right now and you don't know what a top 30 visit is, don't worry, wait half a second. We got it right there. These are the most common types of draft visits, basically where a team is allowed to invite a limited number 30 of prospects into their facilities for a thorough evaluation. So basically, if your team, in this case, the Baltimore Ravens, invites a prospect in for a top 30 visit, it's easy to suggest that they're interested in said prospect. Who are those 2 prospects, you ask? We got them right here. Shamar Turner, edge rusher, defensive lineman out of Texas A&M. And then Georgia linebacker Smael Mondon Jr. Both of those guys are on their way into Baltimore to go into the facilities, work out, interview, do all that stuff, and get ready for the chance to possibly be drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to break down each of those prospects in just a little bit, but I need you guys right now. We are oh so close to 30,000 subscribers, the biggest milestone on this channel. 243 subs away, okay? So if you have not already, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Join us right now for the best coverage you're going to find right here on YouTube. It's 100% free. We give you videos every single day. And if you want to help me get to 30K, do that right now by hitting that sub button. Alrighty, so far, Baltimore has had a limited amount of top 30 visits, only 6. So they still got 24 to give out over the course of the next few weeks. Smael Mondon Jr., Shamar Turner, the 2 most recent. Oluwafemi Oladejo and Charles Grant, 2 guys we talked about last week. And then Efton Chisholm, the wide receiver out of Eastern Washington, and Anthony Belton, the tackle out of NC State. But let's start with Shamar Turner, defensive lineman out of Texas A&M. No, this is not Shamar Stewart. Same team, same first name, different person. Let's talk about Turner, okay? We're going to start with just giving you a little bit of a bio. Let's give you a little bit Shamar on Shamar. He's 6'3", just over that, 290 pounds. He had 36 tackles, 2 tackles, and 1 forced fumble in 2024. Now let's go a little bit into more depth because, in my opinion, and pretty much everybody's opinion, when you look at the stats and you look at the film, he was better in 2023 when he was just strictly playing as an edge rusher for Texas A&M. However, his size at 6'3", 300 pounds, and his athletic profile suggests he's better on the interior, and so that's where he got the majority of his reps in 2024 at. And you saw a pretty big decrease in almost every single statistic. His stats went down from 6 to 2. His tackles for loss went down from 11 to 6. And his pressures went down from 36 to 21. However, still with everything I've seen on film, everything that he tested with, and just his size and traits, I still got a late 3rd, early 4th round grade on a guy like Turner. Let's talk about the good, okay? He showed fantastic pass rush ability in 2023. Now, it wasn't because of his lack of talent in that spot that they moved him inside. It was because of the sheer size that he has. He's also a really good run stopper, which we know Baltimore, they like to focus on stopping the run. They're one of the best at it in 2024. He also plays incredibly violent, which I think is something that this defense might be lacking. I love the way a lot of these edge rushers play, a lot of these defensive linemen play, but I don't know if they necessarily play violent, and that's what a guy like Shamar Turner would bring. However, he's got some bad with him as well. He doesn't really get those hands up a lot. 1 pass breakup in his entire career, that would need to change at the next level. He ended the season pretty poorly, missing 7 of his 10 tackles in the final 4 games. He also had 6 flags this past year, so it's kind of easy to see that he has the tendency of being penalty prone from time to time. I could be sold on Turner in the 4th round. I really could. We talked a lot about this defensive line, whether you're needing help as an edge rusher and you kind of draft him, tell him to shed a little bit of weight and get on the outside, or you draft him and say, you know what, you're going to be an interior defensive lineman for this team. Let's keep you at 300 pounds, and let's try to refine you in that position. I could be sold on him in either way. He's got really good bursts. He's got really good athletic traits. He's really big. Like, he's got everything. He's got the making of what could be a really good pro. You just got to find the right spot for him, and Texas A&M was not able to do that this past year. So play scout for me. Grade Shamar Turner as an NFL draft, okay? as a prospect. You be the scout. Give him an A, B, C, D, or F in the comment section down below. Put the hat on, get your pen, get your paper out, and let me know. So coming up, we got more on Smael Mondon Jr. I'll give a little bit of a breakdown on him, tell you what you could expect at a linebacker out of the University of Georgia. But before we get that, if any of those guys get drafted, they'll be wearing these NFL draft hats, and you could be wearing them right now. If you go to chatsports.com/Ravens draft hat, you get it in black. You get it in this little off-white color. If you don't like the trucker style hat, like the high brim or the high top of it, it's more of a curved bill, classic ball cap look. You can find it there as well. Tons of different styles, tons of different colors. You can get them with the crab. You can get them without the crab. You can get them any way you want it. Just go to chatsports.com/Ravens draft hat. I suggest you do that as quickly as you can because as the NFL draft approaches, these are going to be flying off the shelves faster, faster, and faster. Chatsports.com/Ravens draft hat. The link to this promo is in the comment and description of today's video. All right, let's talk about Smael Mondon Jr. I'm going to start by saying this. I'd feel pretty decent about taking pretty much any defensive player out of the University of Georgia, and Smael Mondon kind of still falls into that realm as well. He's 6'2", 224 pounds, so he's not the biggest linebacker. His Georgia counterpart, which would be Roquan Smith, two very different sizes, but they also have two very different strengths. Let's give you a little bit of a scouting report on Monday. So he has struggled with injuries from time to time. 2024, he had a foot injury, missed 4 games. In 2023, he also had a foot injury, had surgery in the offseason. And then in 2022, struggled with an ankle injury and missed 2 games as well. In my opinion, he seems to me more as a third down linebacker because he's so great in coverage and not an every down inside linebacker in the National Football League. My grade on him, it's a 4th rounder. You got 2 4th-round picks. I would prefer to spend the 2nd and not the 1st on a guy like Smael Mondon Jr. Let's talk about the good, shall we? Okay, he's got solid size and a really good frame. He's got really long arms, which when you're a linebacker who excels in coverage, it's great that you have that to tack onto your game. He's got really good speed to carry with tight ends or running backs if he's in coverage on them and they're running vertical routes. He's quick for his size and his position, I should say. And this is the best part about him. He's got solid instincts in coverage. And that's exactly why I think he's a guy who you'd bring in those third down spots. You'd bring in pass obvious situations because he's not a net negative when he's on the field and the other team is passing the football. Let's talk about the bad, though, okay? He's got some subpar instincts as a run defender. Again, like I've said through the entirety of his breakdown, he is way, way, way better in pass coverage than he is in run defense. He lacks some pop behind the pads. I think part of that comes with his size, 220 pounds, nothing that impressive. Pretty much every single running back is going to be heavier than him that he meets. Most wide receivers are going to be heavier than him that he meets. Every offensive lineman is going to be probably around 100 pounds heavier than he is. And he's also got that lengthy injury history that we talked about. I think he's a guy that would work really well in rotation. And especially in the rotation of these linebackers that you got. You look at the depth chart as it stands right now. Roquan Smith's your starting guy at that middle linebacker spot. The weak side is manned by Trenton Simpson. John Harbaugh spoke just earlier this week and did say that Trenton Simpson, as of right now, will be the starter going into 2025. You just don't have a lot of depth at that position. That's something that you need. So I would love it if this team went into 2025 with that same starting 2 that they went into this last year with. And then when it was past obvious situations, 2nd down, 3rd down, Smael Mondon comes in, Trenton Simpson goes out, and you get a little better of a pass coverage linebacker on the field. So if you had to pick out of those 2 guys, which one would you rather the Ravens draft? Is it Shamar Turner or is it Smael Mondon Jr.? If it's Shamar Turner, go ahead and give me an ST. If it's Mondon, go ahead and give me an SM. This one happened actually while we were in the middle of filming, but the Baltimore Ravens scheduled another top 30 visit, this time with wide receiver out of the University of Maryland, Tai Felton. Tai Felton's an absolute stud, ladies and gentlemen. 1,100 yards in receiving for the Terps this past season. Easily was their brightest spot on their offense. He ran a 4.37 40-yard dash back in March at the NFL Combine. He reminds me a lot of Zay Flowers. Very similar type wide receivers, very similar skill sets, very similar sizes. I don't know how I'd feel about Baltimore, just kind of adding their stereotypical wide receiver that they already have on their roster outside of DeAndre Hopkins. But still, Felton is a guy that if he could get to you in the 4th round, I absolutely would not waste a second picking him. I think he's got a really bright future ahead of him. Make sure you guys subscribe before you get on out of here. Thanks so much for tuning in. And as always, we'll see you next time.